The 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup will see the best footballers on the planet do battle. Can Sam Kerr and co. inspire Australia to World Cup glory on home soil? While Asisat Oshoala holds the mantle of Africa's most decorated female footballer. Immerse yourself in the biggest sporting event of the year with the Contenders. Asisat Oshoala has overcome restricted footballing opportunities as a child to become Africa's most decorated female player. Banned from playing the sport she loved by her parents as a young girl, Oshoala's persistence enabled her to forge a successful football career. The Nigerian is a trailblazer for women's football in Africa, becoming the first female player on the continent to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or in 2022. But Oshoala holds concerns about the future of women's football in Africa.
What we're going through in Africa right now is not something to write home about. It's nothing to write home about. The same thing going on with Ghana, and the same thing going on with Nigeria as well. I think we just have to do more. The federation have to do more in every country regarding female football as a whole. We know they can actually do better. I mean, the men are doing it for years, and then they've seen a lot of improvements in the game. And I think if the girls can get half of that, it will definitely bring joy to a lot of girls, a lot of kids out there that feel they are hopeless right now.
A powerful and pacey goal scorer, Oshoala created more history by becoming the first African woman to win the Champions League. She lifted the trophy with Barcelona in 2021 as the Spanish Giants completed a famous treble to become the dominant side in women's club football. In 2022, Oshoala netted 20 goals in just 19 league appearances to win the Pichichi Trophy as the leading scorer in Spain's top flight, helping Barcelona achieve a perfect 30-win season en route to winning the title. Crowned African Women's Footballer of the Year a record 5 times, she's also starred on the international stage. Oshoala is a 3-time Africa Cup of Nations winner with Nigeria, taking out the competition's Golden Boot Award in 2016. She made scoring appearances at the last 2 World Cups, netting in a 2-0 win over South Korea to help Nigeria advance to the round of 16 for just the 2nd time at France 2019. However, 2022 was an interrupted year on the international scene for the striker, missing almost the entire Africa Cup of Nations tournament due to a knee injury suffered in Nigeria's opening game. But with the 2023 Women's World Cup on the horizon, Oshoala can enter rarefied air for her country. If she finds the back of the net in Australia and New Zealand, Oshoala will become the first Nigerian woman to score at 3 World Cups. And she requires 2 more goals to become the nation's all-time leading scorer at the women's finals. The only African country to feature at every edition of the Women's World Cup, Nigeria haven't been able to translate their continental dominance onto the global stage. But with Oshoala leading the line, the Super Falcons will hope to buck that trend in 2023. Up next, will this be a World Cup to remember for co-hosts Australia? It's an exciting time for Australian football as the country prepares to co-host the 9th edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup. Since winning the right to host the 2023 World Cup, expectations on Australia to succeed as the home nation have amplified. Being the host nation of a World Cup comes with huge pressure, but the Matildas are relishing the opportunity to play on the game's biggest stage in front of their adoring fans.
Honestly, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Being in our home country, the atmospheres at the game, the crowds, the hype around it. I've seen how teams get treated at their home World Cups, and I can just imagine that Australia is going to be incredible for us.
To be a part of a home World Cup would be icing on the cake. It's definitely a bucket list to be ticked off, and I'm definitely ready to do whatever it takes to be there and be supporting the team and be a part of it.
With several Australian players plying their trade with the world's biggest clubs, including Chelsea superstar Sam Kerr, this generation of Matildas could be the nation's strongest ever. And Football Australia believes winning a home World Cup is certainly achievable.
Yeah, look, we have full confidence that the team can do it. We went out the middle of last year when we lost Ante Milicic, and we went for a coach that has done that at the highest level, a coach that has won gold medals at Olympics and has won the Women's World Cup. So our expectation is very high, and we're not being overly ambitious. We think it's high because the team's very good.
The man tasked with extracting the best out of this Australia squad is former US assistant coach Tony Gustafsson. Joining Australia as the team's head coach in September 2020, results under Gustafsson have been mixed, often falling short against nations ranked inside the top 20. Missing out on a medal at the Tokyo Olympics after a 4-3 loss to the United States was a bitter pill to swallow.
I said in the circle that I actually hope we never forget the feeling we felt after this loss, because that feeling we never want to feel again, and we need to use that as fuel to make sure we work really hard from now on to get one day better. So come that World Cup 23, we want to have the feeling we had when we played GB in this stadium, that excitement and celebration to win.
Obviously right now, just feeling extremely disappointed. Coming so close to a medal is completely heartbreaking, especially when being so close and really taking it to the top teams in the world and outplaying them at times, and getting so close to scoring in certain moments, and it just feels like we were right there and it's just been snatched from us. So it's definitely tough to take.
A disappointing quarter-final exit at the 2022 Asian Cup followed, but results have improved for Australia at just the right time. The Matildas defeated Spain, Jamaica, and the Czech Republic to win the 2023 Cup of Nations tournament, scoring 10 goals in 3 games. It's a timely confidence booster as the co-hosts prepare for tricky World Cup clashes against Olympic champions Canada, Nigeria, and Ireland in Group B. Topping the group is crucial, as finishing second will likely mean a daunting round of 16 matchup against European champions England.
Well, finally we know who we are going to play, so we can start all the detailed preparation. We have invested the last 2 years a lot in preparation with one of the toughest schedule in the history of this program and a lot of unique opponents, but now when we know who we're facing, we can also dig deep into the details of the preparations.
Australia's hopes of progressing deep into the tournament largely rests on the shoulders of captain and all-time leading scorer Sam Kerr. After scoring 5 goals at France 2019, Kerr is one of the favourites to win the 2023 Golden Boot in what looms as a defining tournament for the Matildas ace. The talismanic striker will look to lead her country to World Cup glory. Kerr underlined her status as one of the world's best players by finishing third in the 2022 Ballon d'Or after her spectacular title-winning campaign with Chelsea, netting 29 goals in all competitions to claim a second consecutive Women's Super League Golden Boot.
I think Australia's a sporting nation, so we're really going to embrace the women's game and hopefully take it to new heights. I think after France in 2019, the game's elevated so much. So hopefully Australia can really promote what the women's game is about, and I might be biased, but I think we have one of the most beautiful countries in the world, so hopefully everyone enjoys it just as much as we're going to enjoy playing at home in front of packed stadiums.
Over 80,000 fans are expected to attend Australia's opening match against Ireland on July 20 at Sydney's Stadium Australia, as the Matildas endeavour to become the first home nation in 24 years to win a Women's World Cup. Australia have never progressed past the quarter-final stage, but playing in front of big, boisterous crowds on home soil, it could be a World Cup to remember for the co-hosts.
I've been to 2 World Cups, and those memories are my strongest and my favourite memories of me being a footballer, and to have a home World Cup and play in front of my friends and my family, it would just mean so much, and it would honestly be a dream come true.
Coming up, former Matildas captain Melissa Barbieri previews Australia's chances at the 2023 World Cup.
Certainly getting out of the group is the first focus. And then the quarterfinals is always a good indication of where we're at. I feel like the quarterfinals, anything past that, means that we have improved as a nation, and the tournament does sit you favourably sometimes, depending on which group you're in and who you end up playing. But I do think a pass mark would be quarterfinals as a minimum for this team. To go deep into the tournament, the Matildas have to stay injury-free. I feel like there's not a real load of depth in the squad in a lot of positions. Sometimes we rely heavily on Sam Kerr, Caitlin Ford, Hayley Rasso. There's a lot of players that we rely heavily on, and we don't really have the same calibre of player to step up into that role, and we saw that in the Cup of Nations too. I feel like once Gustafsson had to make some changes because of some injuries, we really fell by the wayside in terms of keeping that level of authority on the pitch. The performances of our goalkeeper Mackenzie Arnold was really strong in just elevating her to a consistent performer now. So it was great to see her level of maturity increase, and we all know goalkeepers get better with age, so it was nice to see her step into her own. I feel like the Matildas had played with a couple of formations that I think they nutted out where their strengths and weaknesses were, and I feel like they have come away with knowing that the 4-4-2 formation is of benefit with high and wide midfielders. So they end up becoming a front three in attack, with an extra 10 coming and through the middle. So the 4-4-2 in defence is really solid, and it kind of keeps the their strikers at bay. I feel like they have the mentality to compete with the big nations, but sometimes they're a bit stagnant, lacking in creativity. So I feel like they have the belief, they know they can do it, but in terms of if teams set up in a formation that really clogs our strengths, sometimes it's really lackluster in terms of having that spontaneous burst of creativity to make something happen. I feel like that sort of part of their game is what's missing. Home advantage is important. I do feel like the size of the crowds has been a huge help, especially in some past tournaments where we've seen the home crowd come to the fore. The Australian public loves the Matildas no matter where they sit in the pecking order, whether they win or lose. They just love how the girls play and that never say die attitude, and I feel like that typifies what an Australian is. We've built our brand. There's a lot of people backing us, and I just feel like it's our time to really showcase our skills and bring it all together. I'm not saying that it's hugely different to the last World Cup, the players-wise and the makeup of the team, but I feel like they've all matured. We do some fantastic things in club football. I can say the names all again: Sam Kerr, Steph Catley, Caitlin Ford, Hayley Rasso. They do amazing things for their club. I'd like to see that, turn into an Australian dominant performance out there, and I think they're coming together nicely.
Female football kits have come a long way since the inaugural Women's World Cup in 1991. Throughout the 1990s, women's kits were loose-fitting and weren't sized appropriately for female footballers. The specifically designed uniforms of today are a far cry from the men's hand-me-downs women were once forced to wear. Kit manufacturers now create female-friendly versions of the same designs worn by their male counterparts. For the 2019 Women's World Cup, several teams were able to offer input on the design of their custom-made kits after years of no say. For the first time in their history, England wore their own original kits during France 2019, having previously worn the same shirt as the men's side. The kits were individually designed for each player, using heat mapping and body motion capture to ensure the kit works with the movement of the player. They were almost 25% lighter than the uniforms worn by players at the 1999 Women's World Cup. Nike found that female players tend to have more muscular glutes, hamstrings, and quads, adjusting the fit of its 2019 shorts to suit. Improved female kits is further confirmation of the increasing professionalization of women's football.
It's come full circle, really. I was having to pay to play, paying my subs fees, paying my referees fees, paying my kits fees. I think it was about £90 a year. When I first started playing in men's kit, big baggy kit, playing on really poor pitches, very muddy, having to pay to play the game, and now we have a full professional league in this country, a very elite standard.
Still to come, how women's football is benefiting from increased financial investment. Historically, women's football has suffered from underinvestment, meaning the sport hasn't been able to reach its full potential. While football is popular among females at the grassroots, inadequate facilities, poor pitches, and a lack of infrastructure are just some of the obstacles that confront young participants. Making a living as a professional women's footballer has proven difficult due to low wages and shorter contracts. Female players have fought long and hard for improved income distribution in order to close the gap between them and their male counterparts. And their voices have been heard, with FIFA pledging to invest heavily in women's football.
Absolutely. You just can see what a little investment can do. And just imagining what more access for women in the sport and investment for women in the sport could do with the example that the World Cup gave us. The quality was there and the fans came out to support. FIFA stepped up and I think held a great tournament, and now we continue to progress from here.
Prize money for the expanded 32-team Women's World Cup in 2023 will be tripled from the 2019 edition of the tournament.
We are not going to invest $500 million. We are going to invest $1 billion in the women's game in the next 4 years, because only if you invest, you can seriously expect growth.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino concedes football's governing body hasn't done enough to promote the women's game in the past.
Even if for the World Cup in France we increased from 15 to 50 million the money which was paid to the participating teams, there is still a gap which is too big compared to the men's game. This obviously as well is linked with the difference in revenues, which is huge. But it's also huge because of our responsibility. It's our fault that we didn't commercialize and market the women's game in an appropriate way.
As a result of the game's rapid growth, more and more sponsors are aligning themselves with women's football. In December 2021, Barclays agreed to invest more than £30 million in women's and girls' football from 2022 to 2025, doubling the existing deal and setting a new record for investment in UK women's sport. Barclays is also the naming rights partner of the Women's Super League, one of the world's best female competitions.
I think we needed big companies to come in and support and give us that infrastructure to kind of, as a game, kind of keep pushing on, and Barclays certainly done that.
Powerhouse European clubs like Barcelona have heavily invested in their women's team and are reaping the rewards as a result. World record crowds have flocked to see Barcelona's star-studded side, led by two-time Ballon d'Or winner Alexia Putellas.
From the start, there was a project aimed to make us the best team in Europe, with a mid to long-term perspective. We made the right steps at the right time. They didn't care if in the meantime we were winning titles or not. They believed in the project regardless of our results along the way, because they believed that that was the right way. We didn't win any league titles for 3 or 4 seasons. Then we won 3 consecutively, but the club's investment didn't change.
Barcelona made almost €8 million in revenue during the 2021-2022 season, the most of any women's team, with a significant portion of its revenue generated through marketing and advertising.
I think it's incredible, that we have a main sponsor now for the first time. That means that we were moving in the right direction, and that we have making steps in women's football. And the main sponsor is it's really amazing.
According to a survey conducted by FIFA in 2022, women's football is seeing global revenue growth through sponsorship, broadcast deals, and merchandising. The investment trajectory of women's football is on an exciting upward trend as the landscape of the female game continues to shift.